Serious Survivor here. Today we're going to talk on the topic of urban survival bug out gear. This series, Apocalypse Tips number 6A and forward, will break down the numerous topics of urban survival with several videos talking about the different aspects of the types of gear and requisite preparations needed. In an urban environment, after shit hits the fan or a without rule of law situation, there are basically two choices. One, bugging in to stay put, attempt to ride it out and to survive through whatever unrest and chaos may follow. Two, to bug out or head to a location that you feel would be safer for you and your group or family. These are two subjects that, although related, would require some subtle and some major differences in the training or the gear and the supplies that we would normally stock when preparing ourselves for survival in dire circumstances. Proficiency and knowledge in basic skills such as purifying water, building a fire, obtaining shelter, and recognizing and gathering food will be required. Gear can make a difficult situation easier at times, but gear only lasts for a while. Skills, on the other hand, they don't go away. Once you've learned them, you can always depend on them. We want to familiarize ourselves with what's called the gray man tactic or techniques. This can be a life-saving skill set when stealth or undetected motion or movement is essential. The gray man concept is also discussed in another video in this series. Here are 10 items that will increase potential for long-term survival, and this equipment could be considered a necessity in any individual's bug-out bag, kit, or gear. 10. Fixed blade knife. This is an absolute necessity in more situations that we can talk about in one video. This will assist in making kindling for a fire, striking fire steel and magnesium, cutting various objects such as line or rope, self-defense, and much more. The knife is an item that fits each individual differently. Try out multiple types to find the one that has the features you like the best and fits your hand properly, along with good balance. A full tang is recommended for strength, longevity, and durability. What matters is, can it hold an edge? Is it made of durable materials? Can it hold up to extreme punishment and harsh environments? A knife is not exceptionally expensive, but you get what you pay for. 9. Map and compass. If you live in a very large metropolitan area, we have to take into consideration that it may take longer than expected to get out of the city due to the fact that most avenues of transportation, roads, highways, interstates, and such will be clogged by the backlog of people and traffic already attempting to get out. The usual exits from the city may be at a complete standstill, and people will also be using alternate routes for evasion and escape, such as secondary roads and streets. Assume that major avenues of transportation will not be available and plan your route accordingly. Obtain a map of the city in which you live, one that shows in detail the layout, road and street names, landmarks, etc. Take some time, drive or walk through the multiple routes from your primary location to the point in which you wish to escape. Expect the unexpected, which means that one route mapped out may very well not be enough. Map out multiple lines of escape. Mark important landmarks and locations on your map, places such as stores that can be used to scavenge for supplies or weapons, landmarks like parks and bodies of water, warehouses or large buildings that can be used for shelter, food storage warehouses, police stations, fire departments, schools, hospitals, doctors. Knowing where locations like these are can benefit you. First, you'll have several options for gathering supplies and shelter, and you'll also know the locations that you are likely to encounter other people. Also, make sure to have multiple rally points that everyone in your group or family are familiar with and can find without a map. Because if your kids are at school, they probably won't have their bug out gear with them. They will have to know exactly where to go and how long to wait for you before traveling to a secondary location. Take the time to formulate these plans with your family and group well beforehand. It doesn't do any good to have the appropriate gear and supplies if everyone in your family doesn't know how to get to them. The fact that SHTF can happen when your family or group is not in the same location and normal means of communication are not available makes the next category a valuable asset. 8. Communication, radio. Having the means to listen to local radio broadcast and emergency broadcast will help dramatically. This can give you the advantage of knowing which routes are inaccessible and the severity of the situation in which you are facing. Decent ham radios on the market can range in price from $20 to $30 to however much you'd like to spend. Just keep in mind you need a communication device for you and everyone in your family or group. Make sure the range is adequate and everyone in your group is familiar with the operating procedures and also the backup or alternate channels to tune into to prevent others from listening. Know that ham radios do require a license to use in normal times, but in reality, when shit hits the fan, licenses won't matter much. Many types are available. Shortwave and ham radios are probably the best choice. Some of the types on the market offer many features such as multiple channels, fire, EMS, police, and some military. Also, they usually offer the standard AM/FM channels. Some of these are battery powered, but there are many solar powered and hand powered options on the market that are very reliable. Information is always one of the best assets you can have on your side. 7. First aid kit. The necessity of this kit doesn't have to be explained, but try to include at least 2 manuals or books along with this kit. One is a first aid manual, and the second is an edible and medicinal plant and herb manual. Unless you're a doctor, nurse, paramedic, or other extensively trained medical personnel, then some of the more uncommon illnesses or injuries will be difficult to assess and treat. The manuals offered from many different sources online and through your local bookstores have extensive details and explanations of various medical procedures, ranging from very simple first aid to more difficult processes like stitching wounds and more. There are many items needed for every kit, and these are the most often used things, such as bandages, band-aids, tape, gauze, finger splints, splints in general, eye drops, chapstick, iodine, antibiotic creams and ointments, pain relief, ibuprofen, aspirin, Aleve. Also include items specifically for kids or elderly if you have any included in your group. Some physicians will prescribe you an extra month or so of some types of medication. And also the second book that we discussed previously, the book on edible and medicinal plants and herbs. It never hurts to know too much, but it can literally kill you to not know enough. 6. Toolkit. Multi-tool, lock picks, bolt cutters, hammer, crowbar. This is a part of the kit that is mainly specific to urban or city locations in which there are multiple buildings or structures that can or may need to be accessed when scavenging for supplies or shelter. I'm not condoning or encouraging anything illegal here, just saying. A multi-tool set of lockpicks, crowbar, bolt cutter, and hammer may not all be feasible to carry with you, as this will increase the weight of your pack, but any one or two of them makes a great addition to your pack. They will all serve a specific purpose. The multi-tool is a device that is almost a basic toolbox in one. These will help with anything that needs a small set of tools to repair, rebuild, or access. A set of lockpicks will be a great addition to any gear set. These will allow you access to areas that you normally cannot gain access to. Most things can be brute force though, but sometimes finesse is better. When I use a crowbar or hammer to break a window or door, although I have gained access, I have also made a lot of noise. In an urban environment, especially in the midst of multiple structures, sound will carry and will echo. It can easily give away your position. A set of lockpicks and the ability to use them can literally open doors that otherwise can't be accessed. A bolt cutter is a great device or tool to have with you. This allows access or entry into any areas that may be secured with barbed wire or perimeter fences. Bolt cutters are fairly inexpensive, and a lot of types are collapsible and can be stored in a small amount of space. It's an excellent tool. Crowbar and or hammer. Besides the obvious uses, these devices also can be used to gain entry. These are the brute force methods. They also serve other specific purposes that help when rebuilding or working with heavier objects. They can also double as self-defense weapons. 5. Food and water. I group these together because it makes sense. Having a short-term food and water supply could be considered the most important part, because without these two, you won't make it long. In an extreme condition, when the human body is put to the test, such as a survival or combat situation, the human body will burn more calories than it may be used to. So these calories or nutrients and vitamins have to be replaced at a similar rate as to which we burn them. In extreme situation, there is what's called the survival rule of threes. 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 hours without shelter in harsh conditions, 3 minutes without air, and the last rule is just my opinion, 3 seconds without hope or the will to survive. There are many types of survival food: freeze-dried food, MREs, various energy bars, granola bars, etc. It is usually well packaged in small containers but does have mass, so it increases the overall weight of our bag. But to carry a 3 to 5 or even 7 day supply of food is reasonable. A lot of freeze-dried food and similar have an extremely long shelf life of up to 25 to 30 years. Be sure to check the expiration of all products and rotate them out of your bag on a regular basis. Replace the old with the new. Also, if you included the edible and medicinal plant book or manual in the first aid kit, then you will have a wealth of knowledge pertaining to natural food supplies that can commonly be found in the wild. Water purification is a must. There are several products at very inexpensive pricing. Purification tablets or drops are very small and lightweight and also very reliable. Just be careful when using these in temperatures below 30 degrees and always give them at least 30 minutes to take effect before consumption. Water filtration systems. There are also multiple types of these on the market and most work very well. For a bug out pack, I recommend a high quality water bottle with a built-in purification filter along with several packs of purification tablets which can last you for quite a while. Some filters only filter solid material and they increase in efficiency up to radiological contaminations. Research the different levels or grades of the filter for the brand that you are buying. To increase longevity and effectiveness, only use your purification methods when you cannot purify water the old-fashioned way. 4. Fire. Even in urban survival, the need for warmth, cooking food, and purifying water is still a very real necessity. When we are placed in a situation that one is forced from an urban environment, it may initially seem that this would be an easy task. We have to take into account the vast number of others who will be doing the same thing, bugging out. This can make an exit from the city difficult, blocked, or delayed. In this case, the need for water, food, and warmth becomes evident. The need for a fire doesn't decrease just because we're in the city. There are several easy-to-use tools on the market. Don't forget the standard methods we use every day: lighters, waterproof matches, but those will eventually run out. Fire steel or magnesium block will last for much longer durations. These are simple to use, but do take practice. Hone these skills before it's too late and keep several of these in your bag. Otherwise, we'll be forced to rubbing sticks together and other primitive forms such as the bow drill. When you build a fire inside a structure in the city, not only practice safe methods, but be aware that there are most likely people within close proximity. Build it in an area that can't be seen or smelled from the most obvious points of entry, and always place a guard for any overnight situation. 3. Clothing. Clothing is very important, obviously. This is a part of your bag that will be tailored for the environment or location that you are in or bugging out to. Make sure the clothing you pack is suited for long-term use in the outdoors. Unless you're going to the desert or tropical jungles, make sure to keep a cold or inclement weather jacket and pants, even if it's summertime, because long-term survival is the goal. With these two pieces, we're just thinking ahead because one day it will be cold. In addition to these, make sure to pack at least one extra pair of outdoors pants, one extra long sleeve shirt, one extra short sleeve shirt, 2 pairs of undergarments, 2 pairs of wool or similar synthetic blend socks, stocking cap, hat, and gloves. Keeping your feet and other parts of your body dry is important. Change your undergarments and socks regularly. 2. Light. A light is a handy item that can assist in navigation in unfamiliar terrain at night or in very dim conditions. It can also give you a tactical advantage in some combat situations. This is something that costs as much as you want to pay for it. There are many on the market that claim the brightest light in the world and such. That's good. A light that bright will definitely blind your enemy, but it will also give away your location. Some lights have an ultraviolet setting, and the ultraviolet light is at the high end of the electromagnetic spectrum, which makes it difficult to see with the human eye due to its incredibly short wavelength and high frequency. These illuminate the area in close proximity to you and do not shine anywhere nearly as bright as the standard bulb or LED. This gives you fairly good visibility and doesn't give away your position as easily. There are solar charged lights that also work very well, and some of these have hand cranks to charge them. Most battery powered devices will be dead, so having an item that can be solar charged or hand powered is a definite advantage. Firearm. In a post-apocalyptic world, the standard way of thinking and living will be soon forgotten, and a new breed of humanity will rise and populate the world. If an event is temporary, then hopefully everything will return to what we call normal and civilization will regain its foothold on the world around us. But in a permanent event, one that not only changes history but redefines us completely, a new way of thinking will rise and many will contradict one another. There will be those who wish to restore humanity and those who oppose it, without rule of law. In this type of world, the need for a firearm explains itself, and without one, life will be disturbing and possibly very short. If you're unfamiliar with this subject, it's a necessary subject. To make it out of the city, having a firearm will allow you to defend yourself and to take an offensive position if necessary. And once out of the city, a firearm gives you the ability to hunt. That is an option that is unavailable without a gun. After a few months in the wild, we will get really tired of eating plants. There are different types of firearms, and if you want to keep one in your bag, it will most likely be a pistol or a rifle that's broken down. There are revolvers and semi-automatic pistols. A pistol is a self-defense weapon. You can hunt with it, but not at long ranges and for the most part smaller game. Revolvers have a smaller capacity and usually hold 5 to 8 rounds for the larger calibers and more for .22s. An automatic has a much higher capacity and extended magazines that can hold up to 33, 50, in some cases and even more. A pistol is something you should train with and be comfortable using. But for longer range shooting or hunting, for example, a rifle or shotgun is better, but these will be much more difficult to conceal. A shotgun is effective at shorter ranges, probably 100 yards or less, but is an effective weapon or tool. Most have a limited capacity, but there are many on the market that have higher capacities with extended chambers and multiple magazines. Then there's the hunting or sniping rifles. These types are accurate and lethal. They do tend to have a smaller capacity, but some do accept magazines which can accommodate more ammunition. Hunting and sniping rifles can be semi-automatic, but most are bolt action. These are very accurate and powerful, but the rate of fire is lower with the bolt action. Then there's the AK or AR style, or what most people will call the assault rifles. Having to say, these are my first choice. Higher rate of fire, higher capacity. There are a lot of magazine-fed semi-automatics that are extremely accurate, as accurate as some hunting rifles. Then there are survival models of .22 rifles that can be broken down and kept in your pack. Other rifle types can be broken down easily. An AR-15 can be broken down and kept in your pack, but depending on the barrel length, it may stick out of your pack. Post-apocalypse, when the world changes. Some people will not pose a threat. Some people will do whatever is necessary to obtain what they and their families need. Some people may help you. Some people will simply attempt to take what you have just to do it. There are disturbed people in the world today, and when shit hits the fan, there will no longer be restrictions on anyone. Only moral codes and values, if any, will restrict what is done and who it's done to. Man's biggest enemy has always been man himself. And in the apocalypse, that enemy, that man, will quite possibly have a gun, so you might need one too. The next installments of the number 6 volumes of Urban Survival in the Apocalypse Tips series will discuss bugging in and securing your location, scavenging when necessary, land and map navigation with and without a compass, and also navigating through the city in an entirely chaotic and hostile environment. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and Serious Survivor out.